Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to our next episode of the virtual Heart of the Business Conference. I'm Tom Jacobs, and along with my co-producers, Rita Hernandez-Figge, Jake Bartelt, and the rest of the team at MedHQ, we thank you for watching the virtual Heart of Business Conference. We are joined by John Page, our host and discussion moderator, as well as today, Daniel Montes. He's a firefighter and paramedic for the city of Chicago. The purpose of the Heart of the Business Conference is to gather people together who are interested in the topics around wellness and well-being. That is, well-being for individuals as well as for the companies and organizations for which we all work. Also, as part of the conference series, we're collecting donations on behalf of the Metro Chicago Heart Walk. Thank you for your donations, and thank you for watching this episode of the virtual Heart of Business Conference. All proceeds collected from you, and we mean all proceeds collected, will be delivered directly to the Metro Chicago Heart Walk. This is an event created by the American Heart Association to attract community involvement and financial support for the AHA. In fact, MedHQ is also donating to the Heart Walk through 100% matching contributions, dollar for dollar. We are also fortunate to have many wonderful sponsors supporting our efforts and those of the Metro Chicago Heart Walk. Today, I'd like to especially thank MetLife for their support. In today's episode, our host, John Page, will dialogue with Daniel Montes. Again, Daniel's a firefighter and a paramedic for the city of Chicago, and they're going to discuss hands-only CPR. With all that said, John and Daniel, please take it away.
Hi, I'm John Page. I'm here today with Dan Montes. Dan is a paramedic with the Chicago Fire Department. Welcome, Dan, to Heart of the Business, MedHQ's series on increasing your awareness for the American Heart Association. Welcome, Dan.
Thanks for having me, John.
Well, sounds like an interesting job. Always, it's one of those things that all little boys want to be, a fireman. You're a fireman and a paramedic. That's got to be great.
Yes, it's definitely rewarding and exciting, but sure enough, I never thought I was going to be a fireman until the opportunity presented itself. I actually started my career first being a paramedic, and then I got the opportunity about close to 2 years ago to cross over to be a firefighter paramedic with the great city of Chicago.
That is fantastic. Thank you for your service, man. I appreciate it. You've got to see some wonderful things, but you've also got to see some things that you would prefer not to. So a lot of times I'm having chest pain. I call 911. You show up. Tell me what that's like.
Well, it's definitely rewarding being able to be welcomed into a stranger's house. Not everyone is typically, given that opportunity to just be welcomed right off the bat, because they're looking at you like if you're a doctor. They're holding you to the highest level. Every word that you're telling them, they're ready to do and act upon whatever it is that comes out of your mouth. And so to be able to be in that position, just be of aid to someone that I don't completely know, that's an honor, to be honest. But again, it's something that, we try to go through and give them the best care that possible and let them know what's going on in that situation. I know some situations are more frightening than others, but again, we need to be empathetic and understand that this is their emergency, even though sometimes we look at it as not being that emergent, but we got to try to give them the best of care that we can, and because at the end of the day, it's ultimately their emergency.
That is fantastic. I can imagine. I mean, if I've got some kind of medical emergency, you're the guy in the red shirt that I want to see walking through that door. And I know it's a blue uniform, right? But you're here to help me get over my medical emergency, whatever it is. And it can be I fell down the stairs. It can be I'm having a heart attack. But whatever it is, you're the guy that's here to help me get over that and to get better. And I got to imagine that that's rewarding. But when you do find somebody that's having a medical emergency, let's stick, since we're talking about heart association, let's stick with a heart attack. Between the time I call 911 and you show up at my door, are there things that I should be doing other than just stressing like I would normally do, right?
Well, it's a normal thing that you say that because a lot of times that's what happens. And in a situation like you just mentioned, I mean, I expect people to be frightened. That's a natural response that, our human body tends to give off. And so, but sure enough, there's certain things that you can do to prepare for our arrival. I know recognizing the signs and symptoms are very important. That's definitely something that we're going to be asking. People that have taken first aid courses.
And when you run into somebody that may be having a heart attack, what kinds of symptoms do you normally find that they're telling you they're having? I mean, we know that the standard one is chest pain, but are there others that I should be aware of?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So with a chest pain, that's a big one. That's a very big component. And that chest pain can come in different forms and it be expressed in different ways, such as being kind of a ripping pain, a tearing pain, kind of a heavy, pressure on the chest. Other symptoms associated with is shortness of breath, trouble breathing, lower back pain for some women. It tends to be also a common symptom. Typically, a left side pain on one arm or the other, tingling, numbness. I mean, these symptoms can vary, and they don't present necessarily on everyone that's having a heart attack. So it's kind of a little bit frightening to know that they can present in different ways and forms. But again, with any symptom, it should not be taken lightly, especially if it has happened more than once. And it should be really treated importantly.
And I can imagine that there's a lot of stress. I mean, we talk about when you're taking a blood pressure, the white coat syndrome when the doctor walks in. I can't even imagine. If I've called 911, I am stressed. My blood pressure's got to be off the roof. So you've got to have some things to calm down. So if I'm sitting there with someone I've just called 911 on, how do I get them calmed down? What kinds of things do you tell them to calm them down?
Well, that's definitely a good question there, John, because when we arrive, we tend to arrive in a group of us. We tend to typically, if the fire engine, the fire truck gets on scene, we're kind of a group of 5 guys, sometimes gals, with us. And so it looks like a mob that just broke into your house. And in reality, that could, like you said, it could raise up a person's blood pressure even more. And so right off the bat, we try to introduce ourselves and we tell them we're here to help them. And we try to tell them to take deep breaths, that we're going to do the best that we can to just reassure them that we're on their side and that we're willing to work for them. And again, we tell them right off the bat, we're going to take vital signs to see what's going on in their body. So that way we can give them a quick glimpse as to what's going on in their body that they are, typically telling us that they're, having this emergency from.
And I know you do some community work with the Heart Association. Tell me about those kinds of things that you do out in your own community.
Well, one of the things that I do in the community is hands-on CPR or in health fairs. I try to educate people alongside with the Nursing Association that I'm a part of, and also the American Heart Association, and just bringing awareness to living a healthy lifestyle and preventing having heart attacks, knowing what to do in certain situations where, let's just say that heart attack progressed and the person suddenly collapsed and became unresponsive, and teach them that that's when CPR is needed. I also sometimes teach them further more skills than just your basic conventional hands-on CPR. So it's just pretty much bringing community awareness to the communities throughout Chicago. And being bilingual, I definitely think it's a plus because I'm able to reach that much more people with my knowledge and skill set.
When you're out there in the community doing some health assessments, what kinds of things do you ensure people should know? I mean, I know once you show up my door and I'm having a heart attack, it's a little too late to have a healthy lifestyle. What do you tell people before that day that you want them to be healthier, you want them to be more aware of their health situation? What kinds of things should we be talking about?
Well, definitely, I'm a bit advocate that knowing your numbers is important. So by that I mean knowing where you're at with you're starting off with your cholesterol numbers, knowing what's a healthy weight for you, knowing what a person your age blood pressure should look like, how many minutes a day you're exercising. So just simple basic stuff like that goes a long way in kind of determining your health. Typically, I try to tell them that certain things can lead to certain situations like, cardiac arrest, try to give them some ideas and thoughts as to what they can do prior to, having these emergencies, how to take care of themselves and take preventative steps and measures to, help avoid these situations.
One of the things that we talked about you did in your community was you did some health assessments. You do some hands-on CPR. You also do some helping people to know their numbers. Where do I go? Are there opportunities for me if I don't have a blood pressure cuff at home? How do I find out what my number is to know if I'm even at risk?
Well, definitely getting the annual checkup is always important. That's one of the things that I always recommend people do. Even if you don't have a automatic blood pressure, which is something one can invest in, which you can get for as low as maybe $20 at your local supermarket store. Again, health fairs are something people should take advantage of. Walk-in sessions there, they usually have certain tests that they give out that are able to tell you a lot. Again, it's just a matter of kind of taking the initiative step in your health to try to reach out for resources. I know the American Heart Association has a lot of information on their website where you can kind of see what's healthy, what's not, and how to take care of yourself as far as either whether it's cooking, how many minutes of exercise you need in a day, and healthy steps to take in your everyday life.
As we were thinking about this, I also thought I've seen blood pressure machines in Jewel at the Osco and the Walgreens.
Yes.
Those are opportunities too that probably are in most people's neighborhoods that you just probably walk by as you go to grab that Diet Coke, right?
Yes, you can be sipping on that Diet Coke and taking your blood pressure. Obviously, if you were just smoking or just drinking something with high caffeine, expect that your blood pressure is going to be a little bit high. But again, like you said, that's definitely an opportunity to take advantage of. I know in the health fairs that I participate, whether with the Heart Association or the Hispanic Nursing Association, that's something that we offer with big signs, free blood pressure, so people won't be intimidated, and they can just be curious to ask these questions about what blood pressure is and, and what's normal, what's not normal, right? Because sometimes people are what we consider ticking time bombs. They're walking around with elevated blood pressures and not even know it. And eventually they're at higher risks of getting those heart attacks or having strokes.
I know we have referred to that in the past as the silent killer, that people don't know their blood pressure, don't know their numbers. And so all of a sudden, you have a heart attack and you find out that you've had high blood pressure that could have been treated, but you just never got it checked. And I think we're a little bit stubborn. We think that if we don't know the number, it'll just go away. That doesn't happen, does it, Daniel?
No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, I've seen a lot of the cases where people just put it off, or they macho it out. Men and healthcare providers tend to be those populations where they typically try to just toughen it out. And unfortunately, sometimes they hold it to the point where it just escalates. And then, we see these consequences, unfortunately, play out.
When you talked about hands-on CPR, what is that?
Well, hands-on CPR, it was a movement initiated by the American Heart Association to get people involved, to try to take away the fear of actually doing all the steps that are required when you actually take a full-blown CPR course. So hands-on CPR is simply what it sounds like. So hands-on CPR is pretty much just using your hands and doing compressions nonstop until 911 arrives on scene, or somebody that's fully trained in CPR can come and assist and help that person out.
Is it easy to learn? I don't
absolutely.
I'm one of these people that don't like blood. Is there going to be blood and guts and stuff like that or is it pretty easy? Even somebody, as tame as I can do it.
Anybody can do it. I've seen even as, I think 2-year-olds doing it. There's videos out there by the American Heart Association, actually, great ones. If you just look them up, Google them or YouTube them, I think they have a great playlist of hands-on CPR, everything from jamming out to the Bee Gees songs to, Staying Alive, right? Just to kind of make sure that you're at least making sure that you meet that requirement of anywhere from 100 to 120 compressions per minute, right? Simply, it's just kind of interlocking your hands like this, or putting one hand on top and just simply pressing hard and fast in the center of the chest. And that's all. That's pretty much what hands-on CPR is. And they want you to at least do that for a minimum of a minute. But and it is a workout. And I don't know if you ever got a chance to do compressions on a mannequin or, compress for a straight minute. But yeah, it's definitely something that people are not used to, and it can be very fatiguing. And so again, if there's more people out there, try to get them involved and say, hey, let's switch off and let's try to do the best we can for this person until 911 gets around. So that way people won't feel like they could have, done something. So that way people can feel that they did something for that person, and at least they can know that they tried their best.
Is there a risk? I don't want to break somebody's chest. That's really one of the things I think that people believe, is that if I push on somebody's chest, it's going to crack their ribs and he's going to die. How big of a concern is that?
Well, that's definitely a reality. And so actually some of the best compressions end up fracturing ribs. It's all about hand placement, right? And so that's the one fear that people always think, that if I'm going to do compressions, if I commit myself to this, I might hurt them even more. But in that type of situation, it's okay to press hard and fast as long as you're in the center of the chest. Because again, this person, unless they wake up, and then it's not a full-blown situation where they need CPR, because a real person, that's in cardiac arrest, wouldn't wake up in that type of situation. We just ask that people just go in there confidently and just do the best they can by pushing hard and fast. Although there might be some bone rubbing against each other or fracture of the sternum, it's okay, because again, we'd rather have broken ribs and have a living, breathing person than a non-living person, right?
That is for sure. I'd rather be alive with a broken rib. The rib will heal, right? Once I'm gone, I'm gone.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and
that's right, John.
If I wanted to learn hands-on CPR, does the American Heart Association have resources online? A video that would show me how to do it. It sounds like it's pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, again, this was something that kicked off early in 2010. When they actually were requiring for people to do more compressions than what the standard was, which used to be at least 100 compressions per minute. But ever since that movement of telling people to do anywhere from 100 to 120 compressions per minute, they kind of came out with more videos, very diverse videos, where people are able to kind of jam out or use metronomes to help guide them in making sure that they reach that level of compressions per minute.
That is
very simple.
A good beat. When you're doing 120 compressions a minute or 100 compressions a minute, that is a good beat, right? Because that.
Yep.
And it would. I mean, if you've seen 3-year-olds do it, I mean, that means that a 3-year-old can actually save their grandfather or their father or their neighbor. That'd be a great way to start a life, don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really, and the videos are really less than like 2 minutes. And again, they're English and Spanish, and again, they're multiple languages, and so it's something that you can just stir up in any conversation, saying, hey, if I have too much of this, or and I suddenly collapse, or perhaps stop breathing, I want you to do this, But here, I want you to watch this little video, just so that way you can have something to feel confident about. So,
that's
if you're
great.
not able to take a CPR course.
What other kinds of things do you think is good to know, so that to be able to take care of your own health, but also the health of your family? I'm gonna go to the American Heart Association website. I'm gonna learn hands-on CPR. I'm gonna do those 100 beats a minute. Other things that I should be aware of that I can do to help save my own family.
Well, John, I definitely am a believer that getting involved in their health is very important, because what happens if something, were to happen to them? Let's just say they go unresponsive, they can't breathe. So in that moment, they're not able to tell you all this information about their health. Or perhaps what I always tell people is they have a list of medications ready to give us, the EMS crews, the firemen, right? So that way we can have a list so we can, take to the hospital. Things like that go a long way.
That's an easy suggestion. Have a list of the medications that you're taking, because they could interfere with other things that the hospital may be doing, right? Make sure that
yes, absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. And those are some things that, you just got to take a couple of minutes of your day to try to just get involved. It doesn't require you to be a healthcare professional. It just requires you to have some time and patience. Just get involved in your patients, or not your patients, but your family members' lives. Because again, we want to see them live, prosperous and old, right? And you want them to be there with you for a long time. So, if there's something they're doing something that's unhealthy, it's okay to, call them out on it, but not necessarily shame them, but just tell them this is what's going on and that you love them and then you care for them.
That's great. That is, that importance of being aware both of your family situation, but your own situation and things that, knowing your numbers. I like the term that you use, know your numbers. That's a great one.
Mm-hmm.
What other kinds of things do you want to ensure people know about? This is an important American Heart Association effort, but as someone who deals with medical emergencies and on an ongoing daily basis, what's the thing that you wish more people knew that would help save them and help avoid a trip from you and the boys?
Well, I know definitely. A lot of people think the CPR is common sense, so there's more need of that, especially in non-English speaking communities. I often run into a lot of situations where this person's not breathing and not responsive, and so I would love for someone to be compressing on that person's chest, for the very least. Maybe give, like I said before, having a list of medications, knowing what kind of medical history that they have, and not telling us, oh, I don't know what happened, because you live with the person. I would think that something of that they take or they might have if it's a medical condition, right? Sometimes we're scared of asking these questions, but again, we should be able to ask these questions because we care, and also just because, again, we want to see this person live a lot longer. Again, taking that initiative, that's something I wanted to see in people to be involved and maybe join opportunities where it involves, just learning medical skills. Again, there's many things that you can do with the American Heart Association and learn how help out in first aid events. They usually recruit a lot of volunteers. Taking the initiative just to download apps. I know the American Heart Association or other entities have free apps that people can just download for emergencies, for just basic first aid emergencies, where they can follow these steps and they can help them while EMS arrives. Also just really kind of taking their health serious. Getting that annual checkup, watching what they eat, because it goes and it's correlated with your health as well too, and getting your exercise in. And
those are important minutes, right? Between the time they call and you show up, those are important minutes that you don't want that family member to waste.
Yes, absolutely. So it's important seconds, I would think, because if you have to make a call for 911, which sometimes a lot of people never have done, it's important to get as much information readily available for us. So yeah, that's right.
And probably try and keep them stress-free, right? Sitting down, relaxing, trying to not think about what's going to happen, because that makes things worse.
Oh, yeah, obviously, yes. And so, again, it's just trying to kind of walk them through the whole process as to what was going to happen, right, and what we're going to do for them, because sometimes it's not just like we grab them, we snatch them, we take them, right? We just want to keep them in the know, because, again, the last thing we want to do is make them more worried than they already are.
All right, Dan, through the magic of technology, you're going to show us a little of that hands-on CPR. You've got a test subject there. Looks like a very cooperative subject. Give us a little demonstration of what that is, the hands-on CPR.
Sure, John. So when we're talking about hands-on CPR, just remember a couple things here. Three basic things. When you see a person laying on the ground like this, not breathing, not responsive, first thing is call 911, right? Because we want backup to come in and help us out. Second step, try to remove all clothing, have them on a flat, hard surface. And then third step, pretty much position yourself to do hands-on CPR, which is pretty much, locking your hands like this or putting them aside where the palm of the hand is going to go on the center of the chest. And all you're doing is pressing away. Hard and fast.
So that's on this side of my chest, the left side of the patient's chest.
Right. Anywhere in the center of the chest here is appropriate. Palm of the hand, center of the chest.
And if my grandfather passes out in the house, I want to get him on the floor, right? You said a hard surface. Is the floor good?
Hard, flat surface, yes. And so not in the bed, not in the couch. Find a way to lightly place them on the floor and compress away. Now, in some situations, when it involves a infant or a child, it's appropriate to lift them up on a table on a hard, flat surface and do compressions that way.
Okay.
But typically, we'll be kneeling on the ground and position our hands over the person's body and just simply compressing very hard and fast. At a compression of 100 to 120 per minute. Yep.
100 to 120 beats a minute. And how long do I do this?
Well, John, that's totally up to the EMS crew to arrive. Typically, response time here in the city of Chicago, we're looking at less than 7 minutes.
So
but in some areas, it could be more than 10 minutes.
So 7 to 10 minutes to save somebody's life. That's a pretty good deal, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that's if you can during this process, if you can scream for help or have other people help you out, then just switch off after every minute or so, or until fatigue starts to kick in. So that way this person has the best chance of survival.
That is great. That was really helpful, Daniel. I appreciate you showing us on that mannequin. Very cooperative patient, I might add.
Oh, one of the best that I've had in years.
Okay, so the thing I'm taking away from this, I'm going to go up on heart.org. I'm going to learn to know my numbers, but that hands-on CPR, 100 to 120 beats a minute.
You got it.
That's the only thing I learned today. You've taught me a great thing, Daniel. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Dan Montes, Chicago Fire Department paramedic, extraordinaire, right?
You got it.
Thank you, man. Thanks for joining us here at Heart of the Business with MedHQ. Dan Montes, Fire Department, Chicago, paramedic. Keeping us safe, 100 beats a minute. Got that down. Thank you, Dan.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. It was a pleasure, John. You have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. And be ready to throw down if CPR is needed, all right?
All right.